Good morning and welcome everyone to the Monterey Salinas Transit Board of Directors meeting of June 9th. And this meeting is in-person meeting, and remote participation via Zoom is offered, as well as here in the room and via telephone. Warning to speakers: MST is committed to civility and mindful of its responsibility to protect the work environment. To assure civility in its public meetings, the public is encouraged to engage in respectful dialogue that supports the freedom of speech and values diversity of opinion. Failure to engage in respectful dialogue may forfeit the speaker's right to participate during public comment. With that, Jeanette, will you go ahead and call roll, please?
City of Carmel by the Sea.
Here.
City of Delray Oak.
Here.
City of Gonzales.
Here.
City of Greenfield.
Here.
City of King. Absent. City of Marina.
Here.
City of Monterey.
Here.
City of Pacific Grove.
Here.
City of San City.
Here.
City of Salinas.
Here.
City of Seaside.
Here.
City of Soledad.
Here.
County of Monterey. Absent. Madam Chair, you have a forum.
Okay, thank you, Jeanette. With that, pledge of allegiance. And I would like to ask Director Barrera is ready.
I'm ready.
If he would lead us in the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And thank you. With that, we'll move on to review of highlights of the agenda. Carl.
Thank you, Chair. On the consent agenda, among the usual minutes and whatnot, we have various recognitions for our Employee of the Month and a 25-year anniversary, as well as the procurement of some cutaway buses, which are also what you'd know as the mini buses, the small buses. And then we have a public hearing on our 2-year budget for fiscal year 26 and 27, starting July 1, 2025 through June 30th, 26, and July 1, 26 through June 30th, 27, and a variety of resolutions related to the conducting of the public hearing, approval of the budget, and then adopting of resolutions that will authorize the CEO and their designees to actually implement the budget and apply for the grants. Under action items, we have a lease agreement for property at 271 Rianda to move our minibus operations for the MST rides, services, and minibus operations, fixed route services will be moving from Joe Lloyd Way on the former Presidio of Monterey to this new location in Salinas. And then we have adopt a clause to the MST's employee handbook item as well, needs to be as an action item. And then that concludes, on closed session, we do have an item with regard to the ATU labor contract and their negotiators, as well as conference with real property negotiators as well. So that concludes my review of the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you, Carl. And with that, we will go ahead and move on to public comments on matters not on today's agenda. So at this time, members of the public may address the board of directors on any item related to MST, but not on today's agenda. Items on the agenda, we will open it up to public comment at that time. So with that, public comment is open on anything not on today's agenda.
Seeing anyone online?
Okay,
I don't see anyone.
no one in the conference room, so we'll go ahead and close public comment, and I'll bring this to item 3, the consent agenda. And we have on today's consent agenda items 3.1 through 3.6. Is there, does any of the directors, are you wishing to pull an item for separate consideration at this time? And not seeing anyone?
Sure.
Yes,
And
directors.
when we approved the consent, because I left the meeting last month, I'll just be saying approving of items 1 through 4, because I left at item 5 beyond, so. I'll vote for it, but I'm not voting for the items I was not in attendance for.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Attorney's giving a nod, so
Ernie's good, okay.
You just never know when it might come up.
we'll work it out in the minutes.
Yeah.
And anyone else? And if not, I will open this up to the public. Public comment is open on any item here on the consent agenda. No.
I see anyone online or anyone in the
Okay.
public wishing to speak on the consent agenda?
Okay, with that, we'll close close public comment, and I'll bring it back to the board of directors. I'm looking for a motion for approval.
Motion to approve.
Okay, we have a
Second.
motion and a second. And all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any noes? Any abstentions? With that, motion carries. We'll go ahead and move on to item 4, recognition and special presentations. And first one up is for June 2025 Employee of the Month, Charles Kirk.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. We come prepared today with props, and I'll get more into that in a few here. It's my absolute pleasure to recognize Charles Kirk as MST's Employee of the Month for June 2025. Throughout his nearly 15 years of dedicated service, Charles has consistently demonstrated professionalism, exceptional customer service, and a strong commitment to safety and teamwork. Charles' list of awards and recognitions include several safe driving awards, several perfect attendance awards, and also an MST award for excellent for sustaining a spotless safety record, a perfect customer service record, perfect attendance, and perfect on-time performance in a year. His peers and management alike commend him for his reliability, his positive attitude, and genuine care and support for colleagues and passengers alike. In fact, many of our newest coach operators credit Charles for their successful start at MST because Charles has played a vital role as a regular line instructor, and also most recently, a coach operator mentor for new coach operators on our ATU-led mentorship program. It goes without saying, his leadership and guidance has left a lasting impact on our team. And to illustrate the point, Charles has become our inaugural winner of our local ATU's Mentor Champion Belt, awarded for being the mentor to the first coach operator graduate of her new class of trainees. And that's what you see here. Outside of work, Charles also likes to collect the bling and brings the same drive and determination to his personal pursuits as an avid obstacle course racer, who has completed several, I'll say several, but it might be maybe a dozen plus Spartan races, including achieving the Spartan trifecta, which is completing a series of races, including 13-mile, basically a half marathon obstacle course with over 30 obstacles in a single year. So whether he's navigating an obstacle course or a busy route, Charles leads by example and inspires those around him. I like to say that he's not only good at driving a bus, he's good at driving excellence. Please join us in congratulating coach operator, line instructor, and coach operator mentor, Charles Kirk, as our Employee of the Month, June 2025, and for his well-earned recognition.
Not UFC champion, MST champion.
Good morning, everyone. I was told that I was gonna have a cage match with Carl here, but I love my job. Okay. I just want to say thank you to everyone for being here. It's really an honor. I'm going to start out by saying a quote that I enjoy a lot. Those that my mind just went blank here. Those who dedicate themselves to success speak a language the excuses never understand. That's what I go by. All my life, I've enjoyed helping people. I know why I'm here today. I'm here today not because somebody felt sorry for me or they said, Charles, I think you deserve Employee of the Month, but because of my actions speak louder than words. I love helping people. It's in my heart. It's very easy to do, but it is a challenge. And I look at it as if you're challenged, then you're able to change. And that's what I try to do, change myself and give hope for other people. I will continue to help people. I enjoy doing it. And I thank Marzette for having the confidence in me to do so. I also want to thank Carl for your excellence. And I thank you. And I was kidding about that cage match. But I do want to thank some people that are here right now, and I would like to thank Kelly because she's always been nice to me. I never had to go in her office for anything, so I'm very happy about that. I also want to thank Lisa and Michelle. They always been nice to me. They've always asked me about my daughter, which, by the way, unfortunately, my wife and daughter couldn't be here, but I will say to everybody that my daughter recently, she graduated from MPC with 2 associate's degrees. Her name is Addison. And just this last Friday, she graduated from Seaside High as the first African-American valedictorian. She's going to be attending Columbia University this fall. So I'm very proud of her. I also want to thank Veronica. Her and I, every time I see her, we have nice little chats, and she's always been nice to me. Melissa, she always bails me out at times. And thank you very much again, Marzette. You've been awesome, and I really appreciate it. I also want to thank the coach operators, all of them, maintenance department as well, for helping us out. And I also want to recognize 2 people who are no longer here. They're a part of the MST family. The first one is Patrick Hillard. He was a coach operator. He was not only a good coach operator, but he was a good man. He was a good friend. And I can hear him laughing right now because I'm standing right here. And I also want to thank Deborah Armbruster. She was one of the 3 people that interviewed me for this job 15 years ago. And towards the end of the interview, she asked me if there was anything I wanted to say. And I said to her verbatim, I think it would be a disservice for MST not to hire me. Standing here today because of a good reason. On that note, thank you, everyone, and have a good day.
It's not often. I'm speechless. So we'll just move ahead. All I can say is that I have the opportunity to speak to all of our new employees on their first day and when they complete training. And one of my standard questions that I ask them is, how did you enjoy the training? What were the best parts of your training? What were the hardest parts? I'm trying to get an understanding of it. And consistently, every class that Charles is involved with speak his name as far as being the best part of their class and the best part of their instruction. So we set out with that foundation, and you can see what that foundation is. And I think it leads to the broader sense you heard in the operations committee today, the excellent work that we do with safety. We talked about 1.75 million miles between preventable accidents over the last year. And that's in large part because we have employees like this who make that foundational experience for our employees. And with that, I thank you. And I'm going to have to say, to paraphrase a line from one of my favorite summertime movies, I'm gonna need a bigger plaque. So of a bigger boat, but here is your resolution, Charles. It's hard to go up against that belt. That's a sure. And then we also have your check.
All right.
And let's see, is there a pin?
Yeah, the thing.
Is it-
It's on the top. It's on the left.
On the top. Somebody, oh, there it is, right there in front of me. Thank you. I just had cataract surgery and I'm like still trying to figure only one eye. But that would be an excuse that success doesn't understand. I was listening. So, thank you, Charles.
I also, sorry, I almost forgot, please forgive me. I want to say thank you to my wife and daughter for their support and love and for dealing with me because there's days where I just didn't have it, but they picked me up. And I also want to thank the passengers because without them, I wouldn't be here today. So thank you very much.
When we hear of a coach operator, we've created a career that has allowed a child to go to Columbia University. So this is the role that we play in the community. So thank you. And I'm so happy for you and your family.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, photo in the cage match.
Hold on to cake.
We're so glad that check is a big one to help out with Columbia.
Charles, I don't know where they've been hiding.
I might buy a book.
Yeah. All books are like $500. It's ridiculous.
Like a sleep friend.
All right, Big says it'll buy nadie.
Thank you. Thank you
Okay.
Okay, here we go.
They don't have a lot of protests while she's there. Peaceful. Columbia experience.
No, oh, no.
Peaceful is always good. Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Oh. And I left my phone in the car.
Oh, that's great.
Okay.
Is that Carl in the front?
Yeah, that's all. That's him on all of that.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, my. God.
Oh, my goodness.
Never
Good
knew
luck,
that hair.
good luck.
Take some photos. The many faces of Carl Sidoric.
That's hilarious. That is hilarious.
Like they're over 25.
Yeah, probably. Oh, my God, that's hilarious.
Child.
So my wife calls me.
Yeah.
Okay,
Is that you with hair?
so at this time, we'll go ahead and move on to item 4.2, and this is for the 25th year anniversary of Carl Sidoric. So General Manager of MST, you all know him, and I don't know, it might be hard to find them. There's so many, I see so many out there. But Carl, this marks your 25th year, and I'm just going to read this resolution that the board adopted. And I don't know, it's pretty long, but so whereas Carl Sidoric began his career with the Monterey Salinas Transit Powers Agency on June 1st, in the year 2000 as an assistant general manager. In that role, he directly oversaw the administration and operations department. And whereas Carl G. Sidoric stepped into the role of interim general manager, CEO in June 2005, and then as general manager, CEO in September 12th of 2005. And whereas the general manager, CEO Carl oversaw successful MST infrastructure projects, including the new Marina Transit Exchange in 2007, the Jazz Bus Rapid Transit in 2013, And the new admin offices in 2016, a complete remodel of the Monterey Bay Operations and Maintenance Facility in 2018. Renovations of the Salinas Transit Center in 2019, a new mobility service center in 2019, the new South County Operations and Management Facility in 2021, and the future Surf Busway and BRT scheduled for opening no later than March 2028. And whereas Carl led efforts to advance MST's technologies and innovations, including an advanced communication system in 2002, a partnership with San Bernabé Vineyards to grow mustard seeds to convert MST's fleet to run on renewable biofuel in 2008, the real-time bus arrival system in 2016, and contactless fare payments in 2021. Whereas Carl led efforts to implement new transit services to South County with Line 23, Salinas King City in 2003, the new Grapevine Express, Line 24, Monterey to Carmel Valley in 2005, Line 55, Monterey San Jose Express in 2005, new military serving lines in 2008, Line 84, King City, Paso Robles, a major overhaul of the entire transit system through the Better Bus network in 2022, and Line 59, Salinas Gilroy in 2023. And whereas Carl, with his background in finance, championed innovative financing solutions, including a partnership with the city of Monterey for the popular visitor serving Monterey Trolley, a transportation infrastructure finance and innovation act, rural project initiative buses in 2018, establishing a partnership with Navy Postgraduate School, and the Presidio Monterey using the federal mass transit benefit program military funding to pay for military serving transit services, and the introduction of the first ever local retail sales tax known as Measure Q to serve persons with disabilities, seniors and veterans. And whereas during Carl's 25 years, MST has been called up to respond to a number of emergency events and coordinate with the Monterey County Department of Emergency Management, including the COVID pandemic and emergency evacuations from fires and floods. And whereas as the general manager CEO, Carl participated in state national advocacy efforts with the American Pride Transportation Association, the California Transit Association, where he served as chair in 2017, and the California Administration Coordinated Transportation Cadillac and Bus Coalition. And whereas during the time as general manager, CEO, MST has received numerous awards for transportation excellence, including the prestigious Secretary of the Army Quality of Life Award, APTA Gold Gold Award for Safety, CTA Small Operator Transit Leadership Award, an Outstanding Transportation Agency Award by Cal Act, APTA Adwill Award for Best Educational Comprehensive Campaign for Real-Time, the CTA Innovations and Resiliency Award, and numerous transportation awards from the Transportation Agency of Monterey County. And whereas during his 25 years at MST, Carl led efforts to transition the MST Joint Powers Agency to Special District under Assembly Bill 644, therefore ensuring all cities in the county have a seat on the MST board, secured over $200 million in federal, state, and local grant funding for infrastructure, technology, and service initiatives, oversaw a budget that contributed I gotta give $1.5 billion to the local economy through direct and induced spending since 2000, and served more than 100 million passengers. And whereas Carl has distinguished himself at MST and in the community as a courageous and principled leader, consistently demonstrated a deep sense of responsibility for the well-being of MST employees and passengers while championing safety, fairness, and equity as core values. And whereas Carl is equally celebrated for his special sense of humor, delighting colleagues with his signature dad jokes, and equity as core values. And whereas Carl is equally celebrated for his humor, dad jokes, Halloween costumes, transits themed April Fool's messages, and his ability to bring a spirit of fun and camaraderie to the workplace. And whereas Carl has been consistently a positive force within the organization, earning the respect and appreciation of MST passengers, partners, colleagues, and staff, there is collaborative spirit and dedication to fostering strong, productive relationships. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the employees of Monterey County Transit District and members of the Monterey County Transit Board of Directors recognize and congratulate Carl Sidoric on his 25th anniversary, and be it further resolved that the Board of Directors expresses its sincerest appreciation for his tireless commitment to MST and the customers and communities we serve, and congratulate him on reaching his remarkable milestone of public service. The Board of Directors of Monterey County Transit District passed and adopted Resolution 2025-24 on the 9th day of June of 2025. And this is signed by the chair. Yeah, I'm gonna set this down for a minute. I will hand that to you.
Okay.
And also at this time, if any of the directors have anything from their cities that they would like to, now's the time that we could do
Right.
that.
Well, I am not going to read my resolution.
Thank you.
And you don't have to read them.
And but I do want to present you with the resolution from the city of Gonzales.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Tony, City of Salinas.
Yes. Besides walking on water there, Carl.
I don't do that.
You know, I do want to share something here. This is on behalf of our mayor, Dennis Donahue, and the rest of the city council. And we say this, and I mean this from my heart. But one of the things that stood out for me on this, during your 25 years, MST has been called up to respond to several emergency events and coordinated with Monterey County Department of Emergency Management, including the COVID-19 pandemic, which was huge, and emergency evacuations from fires and floods. You know, one thing I've appreciated about you, Carl. Oh, I don't think there's a white envelope for you, but it's all right. Oh, so, sure. Carl, you know what I've shared, places where I've gone, if you wanna build morale with your team, talk to Carl. You build a great team.
Yeah.
I really enjoy when a leader respects their subordinates, man, and that, to me, it doesn't matter how many certificates or how educated you are. To me, the value of a person is how you treat people. You've done an exceptional, good service on that. And, you know, I remember the seriousness of Pájaro, and your drivers did an exceptional job out there with transportation and meeting the needs of everyone. So I want to thank not only you, but your staff. And this is real wood. This is not particle board, so there's an.
All right.
But Carl, from this one servant, I do appreciate you and your work. As I gave you a hug this morning, I really love when your mom would call you on your phone. I did. You know what? 'Cause I'm a family person. When a mom feels comfortable with her son or daughter, man, that's awesome. So thank you for your service. And I hope you put this on top of, Monterey County goes on the bottom and then.
Thank you, Carl. Thank you.
Okay. And, would you like to go?
I didn't know we were.
I'm gonna be really quick. The city of Sand City did recognize Carl and congratulate Carl Sadork on his 25th anniversary. And I will say, I will be happy to get on a jackhammer whenever only for Carl. Whenever he does a groundbreak.
All right, June 28th.
Yeah.
Mark the date.
Hi, good morning, Carl. I don't know you that long, but what the chair just read, it is impressive to me that you do that with a smile. You know, great people do great things, and I think you're one of them. And the city of Soledad is proud to present you with this recognition for all your work, all the work that you have done, and the people behind you is a testament of what you do.
Yeah.
They also work really hard and they're proud of what they do. So thank you for leading that team.
They're the ones who do it. So.
Starts at the top.
I asked for one. I was contacted about it and I thought they were sending one over, so I will follow up with their.
Okay.
But the city of Greenfield also thanks you.
Thank you. Thank you.
City of Delray Oaks, also we are lucky because you actually live in our city. So we feel very special to honor you. And you know, before even coming on this board, I knew who you were, even though you were in our city, just because of your knowledge and your dedication to transit. And you work tirelessly. So thank you so much.
Setting up those picnic tables.
Yeah, I know. Thank you. You do a lot for our city and for the community, and we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well,
go ahead.
I didn't say anything, but I want, because I didn't know we were gonna be able to do that, but I just want to say one quick.
I had nothing to do with any.
And-
So.
And that is that I tell everyone, and you can ask anyone from my city or whoever I talk to, if you want to get an example of an executive director for an organization, talk to Carl Sadorek, because he is the guy. And I can't say that about a lot of people, but I want to say that about you. And
Thank you.
obviously your staff is A+. So
Thank you.
congratulations.
And Carl, on behalf of the Monterey County Board of Supervisors, this was signed by us, all 5 county supervisors.
Thank you.
Chair Chris Lopez, Kate Daniels, Wendy Rudascu, Glenn Church, and myself. Out of respect for you and appreciation, this is not only a 25-year anniversary, this is a lifetime recognition. Really, when you put 25 years of service, dedicated service to an agency like MST, it really shows your commitment, and you've done it very well, exceptionally well. Being a leader on a statewide and national level, being a trailblazer in many ways, innovative programs that we implemented first here at MST that have been an example for the nation. But what I wanted to say along the lines of Councilmember Barrera, it's what you do when nobody's looking. When you think of the most vulnerable, those are residents most in need. What do you do during those most challenging moments? And MST and you, Carl, as its leader, have always been there. And I remember very distinctly during the COVID pandemic, when kids couldn't access their online classes because they didn't have internet service, you sent buses to Greenfield, and the images, those stories came out. That meant a lot for those families and kids. That MST stepped in a way that you couldn't even think of, coming in to help them with their schooling. And then in 2020, we had 3 wildfires, and MST came in to help with evacuations there. And then obviously the most recent in Pajaro in 2023, a very devastating moment for so many families who lost everything. But MST was there at a crucial moment with your drivers to help them flee a dangerous situation. So on behalf of the Board of Supervisors, we want to commend you for your exemplary leadership and your compassion and your dedication to the people of Monterey County.
Thank you all so much. Thank you so much. See.
Are we getting sandwiches after this?
So unbeknownst to Carl, staff has been planning something since about March to April. But in the mid-April, he started dropping hints to ELT about his 20, hey, my 25 years is coming up. And we really downplayed it. We're like, that's cool, Carl. Like, congrats to you. But with that, we decided that, we planned some stuff, but in addition, we did a Carl's top 10.
It's cruel and unusual.
Hold on to your socks here. Okay. So he goes out of his way to learn the names of all 200 plus employees.
He often rides the bus on weekends because it's fun.
He is a tireless advocate for the betterment of MST and the customers he serves.
He embodies the perfect balance of professionalism, humility, and playfulness, as evidenced by his ability to incorporate dad jokes into most conversations.
Also, he's a black belt in karate. Wow.
Take them out on the street.
He's a hands-on CEO and willing to step in and help when needed.
He's always seeking opportunities to find grants and funding to support agency projects. And he also listens to staff and genuinely cares for their well-being.
He seeks innovative solutions for the challenges we face. And finally, the most powerful phrase staff can utter is release the Carl.
So with that, we have our white envelope with your catalog, because come on, 25-year catalog. I know you've been waiting for this, as well as your 25-year pin. So
Diamonds.
CZs. And on top of it, we decided to be a little bit more unique and we put a best. So it says Carl G. Sidoric, getting stuff done, GSD for 25 years.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
And thank you.
And
Teach.
Joe,
Wow.
go there,
Speechless.
before we go
Yeah.
there, Joe had one thing more
Sure.
to say.
Just a couple of things. You have a certificate here from the city of Pacific Grove.
Okay.
From the mayor pro tem, who happens to be me.
Okay.
And Nick Smith, the mayor, he sends his
Thank
best to
you.
you. And then Matt, our city manager,
Yeah.
he also sends the best to you. And it's I want you to know at the last council meeting, we all get to make announcements, whether what it has to do, whatever it may be. So I went ahead and honored you at our last council meeting.
Okay.
Last Wednesday. It feels like yesterday, but anyway, thanks a lot, Carl, for all you've done. And I'll ditto everybody else. I'm not gonna spend a lot of time on this, but I do have to say, someone told me, how's it been the past 6 or 7, going on 6 years on the council? And I said, well, the only thing I notice is I'm losing more hair on top.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, as I look at the pictures there, Carl, I noticed that your hair is a little bit more grayer on the side. And there's also some darkness in some of the other pictures. Again, congratulations, Carl.
Thank you.
From the city of Pacific Grove.
Well, thank you all so much. It means a lot. 25 years. Sometimes it feels, just like yesterday, but it's this team and this board over the years. I came here from LA County, 25 years here, 12 years prior to that in transit in LA County at Long Beach. Do the math, it means I'm old, right? So the big difference between what we've been able to accomplish here and I think in other areas is the willingness of your cities to work together, because really my experience both working in LA County and then just within this industry, dealing with the Bay, working with folks in the Bay Area and Sacramento area, and then around the country, what they lack that we have is the ability to work together for the constituencies we serve. And I see you all taking off your city hats or county board of supervisor hats, and really at these meetings, sitting down and getting business done for those who need it the most. And that has what has allowed that list of significant accomplishments to occur, is our communities and their elected representatives to check their egos at the door, check their particular city's requirements at the door, and to work together on this board for the greater good of those who need it the most. And then to support this team, who is the best in transit, has been critical as well. So I know you act as advocates, not only for your communities, but for me and for this team. And I thank you. Yeah.
Can we take a photo with everybody who brought a frame?
Maybe, yeah, absolutely.
Well, we'll take it like that and then the photo.
Yeah.
that way. Once we get the
So
frame back.
this great professional team of lunatics.
Yours is blue ones.
Well, you want everybody has a.
Is this yours?
Oh, you want my plaque up there?
Let's have, who would like to hold?
Come
this?
on, yeah, let's get the.
All
right.
And now we get off the.
That's it.
Yeah.
I think it's all gonna come up there. Okay.
That really. Did I go right?
I'm good.
That's all it is. Just a frame.
All right.
Yeah, I think the whole board.
Yeah, get everybody in here.
There we go. We'll get them all in here.
Come on, Pacheco.
It's gonna unplug the microphone if we use it. So you can put much more. Come on in. This is
Anybody?
Breathe in, everybody.
Squeeze it. Gross.
Real cozy.
Oh, this is good. Well, seriously.
That's okay.
I think that's
It's-
okay.
Can we put it in?
I don't know.
Thank you.
Yeah, and you, what wants to take one of the phone?
That way we can send it to all the,
Oh.
board members.
Yeah, she can just.
One more.
Yeah.
One more. One more.
Good.
Say, ladies, one more.
One more. This is gonna go viral on the Lisa.
Hurry up, it's almost gonna be pictured.
Get over there to be on CNN.
Carl's News Network. Yeah, Joe.
All right.
Okay, thank you, Luis.
All right.
Thank you, everybody.
All right.
Can you leave them right here?
You're
done.
You did thank you, honor that.
That's very cool.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
That's
Ask him,
Hit him up.
who's his buddy, his pal, and his friend.
That's right.
He calls me every time, he's like, Tom, my buddy, my fellow, my friend. I just said, how much, Hans, how much?
Yeah, just what do you want? Because that camera got away of the vice chair. I'll send it to everybody.
That was, overwhelming.
We should have like tucked it down.
Yeah.
I'm gonna step out. I'm gonna go right back.
I'm not, that one, it's this fall or a 6 off.
It's gonna be a long, okay. 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 Now with that, we'll go ahead and move on to item 5, public hearing. 5.1, and this is we are going to be considering FY 2026-2027 operating and capital budget, and Lisa Reinheimer will be giving us a staff report.
Thank you, Chair, members of the board. Lisa Reinheimer, Deputy CEO for MST. And I will be presenting to you the MST operating and capital budget. And there are a series of actions we recommend that you take in order to get this done. But before I start, I, of course, need to thank all the people that contributed to the budget process. The key, of course, is Andrea Williams, sitting back there in the back, who crunches the numbers, meets with the staff, with the executive team, with the managers, to make sure that we're capturing everything that we anticipate over the next year and trying to navigate through uncertainty within the budget. Of course, those uncertainties I'll get into a little bit later, but thank you, Andrea, for all your hard work and the rest of the team for the contributions. Next slide, please. So I'll go through the year-end forecast, talk about our budgeting priorities, our revenues, expenses, service highlights, and then get into the capital program, including some unfunded long-term capital needs. Next slide. So for the year-end forecast, we are anticipating by the end of this month, we will have revenues in excess of $60 million, expenses just a little over 57 million. So an operating surplus of $3.8 million, which will contribute to the unrestricted reserve balance of a little over 50 million, $1,650,461. Note that these do not include capital expenditures. We were not fully staffed throughout the year, as you saw last month on the staffing update from Kelly Halkin. We have higher interest rates on our investments this year than what we had anticipated. And we also had higher sales tax returns as more people spent their money on stuff and things. So thank you. Next slide, please. So our priorities are to maximize revenues to the extent that we can. We try to, within the confines of all of the different restrictions that we have on our funding, we try to draw down on federal funds first, followed by state, and then the most flexible funding that we have, we try to not spend that as much to give the board and our organization the maximum flexibility that we can over time. We seek grants for those capital projects where there are one-time expenses, where we pull from reserves for or budget for local dollars to match those funds. We continue to we will continue our fares at existing rates. We don't have any proposed fare increases. We'll continue to foster and maintain our partnerships, the College Eco Pass program, the Monterey Trolley, operate the Better Bus Network at your adopted levels, and continue appropriate levels of staffing to accomplish all those things. Next slide. So I'm going to get into a little bit of more detail than I have in the past. In here, what you'll see is the projection in the left-hand column of the forecast to June 30th, 2025, and what we think we will have brought in terms of grants and revenues, and then what we are budgeting for in this budget in FY26. I'm not going to get into FY27 in this presentation. And then the percent change between what we forecast and what we anticipate in the budget. It's a little bit of apples to apples, but it gives you a sense of what we've actually done versus what we're budgeting. And then later on, I'll show you budget versus budget. So we're getting higher levels of federal funding. That's through the bipartisan infrastructure bill, which is a good thing. We're anticipating lower sales tax revenues through the local transportation fund, as well as through the state transit assistance fund. We're projecting a slight increase in Measure Q funds. And then also we are looking at partnership revenues, Trolley, College EcoSmart at slightly higher levels, but passenger fares, advertising revenues, and other is interest that we earn on our like our money market account and the interest accounts that we have. We have another one in LAIF, the Local Agency Investment Fund. You may have that also at your cities. So in total, we're not projecting a revenue much higher than what we had in what we anticipate to get this year. Next slide, please. So on the expenses side, we forecast less than what we had budgeted for the year, so that's a good thing. Remember, we anticipate in our budget 100% full staffing. Whether that's realized or not, we need to be able to project that out and budget for it accordingly. And then the other thing I did want to mention, we do have higher amounts in that last item, the purchase transportation column. Remember, the board had approved a new purchase transportation contractor, Transdev, who will take over in July 1st from MV Transportation. So we are anticipating higher expenses than we did last year, as in June 30th last year, which is a few weeks from now. Let's go to the next slide, please. So in terms of the budget detail, we're increasing by 1.4 million. This is budget to budget. And the contributions to that are the wages, benefits for all of the ATU representatives, the MSTEA representatives, and then anything associated with supporting those folks, including insurance, payroll taxes, PERS, all that kind of stuff. So that is anticipated to increase. Next slide. In services, fuel, parts, and supplies, that's also increasing over the next year. Things like computer maintenance, consulting, security, armored car. There's also a slight increase in fuel, vehicle parts, et cetera, to support the operation. Next slide. I mentioned purchase transportation. There is a $3 million increase there due to the transition and the competitive bidding process that we went through earlier. Of course, that is transitioning on July 1st. And you will also see some costs associated with transitioning the actual physical operations from the Fort Ord site to a Salinas site next up on your agenda, and that's accounted for in this budget. Next slide. So I always like to look at the big picture when you're looking at a budget. So I just, if we're zooming out a little bit, what we're seeing between budget of 25 to budget of 26, we anticipated a $5 million deficit in 25. We came in at a little under $3 million surplus. We are also anticipating a $10 million deficit this FY 26, largely due to some startup costs for that transition of the purchase transportation. And then also, it's not $10 million. It's due to the fact that we're fully staffed. We assume we're fully staffed. We assume that our revenues are coming in similar to what they came into last year, not over projecting revenues, but projecting, the levels that we think are going to come in this year in terms of fuel, purchase transportation, all those other expenses that I just went through. And there is also in that $10 million amount, a large sum that goes over to the capital side for some capital projects. So next slide shows a cash flow forecast over the next 5 years. And so what you'll see is over time, we will start depleting that $50 million surplus for any number of reasons. We have a 15% board restricted reserve that is through policy. So that's what you'll see in that sort of reddish color there. So that will always need to be available to us for cash flow reason. That was a policy that the board had enacted many years ago when we were having really bad problems with cash flow, which we don't have today, which is a good thing. So let's move on to the next slide. Service operations highlights will continue the better bus network at levels that match what you have for available coach operators and staffing. We'll extend the Eco Smart Pass program, continue the Vanpool program, and then we also included in this year's budget the free fare days that we've come back to the board after the fact and thought, well, it would be better to just put it in the budget. We'll consider that approved and then just operate those 6 free fare days, including Thanksgiving, Rosa Parks Day, Christmas Day, New Year's Day, Earth Day, and Senior Transit Day. Typically, we've done only Rosa Parks Day and Senior Transit Day on this list, but the other ones are more of a community benefit for those who, need to get to family and friends on those special occasions. So, and then of course, celebrating Earth Day, that's a no-brainer for transit, considering how much we contribute to global climate change reductions. Okay, next slide. I'm almost done. On the capital improvement program side of things, we have about 23 million going to the capital program that's funded. We have an additional 9.5 million that's unfunded. If we get grants, that's great. We'll, throw them in the funded category. We have the SURF busway and BRT project. We are anticipating needing to have some expenditures in the environmental restoration and mitigations categories as our permitting requires. We're also continuing our Salinas operations and maintenance facility design and environmental review. We have some vehicle replacements and also other various, little add-ons here and there for facilities, IT, and other support. So now on the next slide, I'd like to go into sort of long-term picture of what is unfunded in our capital side, because we do have state of repair, good repair obligations to both the federal and state governments, as well as an innovative clean transit rule compliance. And through 2025, on just the vehicles themselves for electric vehicle buses and their supportive charging and installation infrastructure, we have $157 million unfunded mandate at this point. And then we'll talk about some of this in the strategic planning workshop later on this year and how we tackle this very, very large unfunded mandate. But that's not all we have. If you go to the next slide, that's just on vehicle needs. We also have some other support equipment that needs to occur, as well as facilities expansion. We're moving our operations from Fort Ord to Salinas, but we also have our Salinas facility. We're busting at the seams. It's 2.3 acres in Salinas. It's 30 plus years old, and we just are at capacity there. So we need more space to be able to support our operations and support the communities we serve. So the 56.4 million plus, we're just not at the point at the moment to know exactly how much that's going to cost. So if you add that in and some other ADA bus stop improvements that are needed over our entire system, we're pushing over $200 million of an unfunded capital need for our organization to thrive. So that's that on the budget. Couple last things. One is the board is required to hold this public hearing. We're also required to notice this in a newspaper of general circulation, which we did. And also you're required to hear public comments on the budget. So I'll step aside and let the public, if there's public comment on the budget.
Okay, thank you, Lisa. With that, I'll first go to the board. Are there any questions, comments to Lisa at this time? And Joe?
Yeah. Thank you, Lisa, for your presentation. I'm just curious on the federal operating funds. You had 11 million plus and 13 projected. Do you see with the state of the nation, do you see that we're not going to be receiving any federal funds because of a certain individual?
It's a good question.
It's not a fair movement.
I was in
Statement like that.
I was in Washington DC several weeks ago at the APTA Legislative Conference, and I was able to speak with our representatives, Lofgren, Panetta, Padilla, and Schiff, and advocated for, of course, more money and some other technical changes. But the industry is starting the conversations with the need for additional funding for public transportation. So your crystal ball is as good as my crystal ball in terms of whether the administration fully funds to where we need them to be, or, comes in lower than that. I don't think there's necessarily a thought out there that public transportation would not be funded in its entirety. It's just a matter of what levels. And, next month we'll have a briefing from our legislative advocate for the admin committee from Don Gilchrist. So we can ask him what he's hearing on the streets as well.
Thank you.
Carl?
Yeah, and just to, I have been executing agreements, to continue funding, the funding flowing, so those administrative processes that ensure that we receive our regular formula funds are continuing to occur. We haven't seen any indication of money being withheld. We're drawing down funds as they occur, and the administration's budget that came out a week or two ago did include actually more funding for public transit in this year than in previous years. So it's hard to cut through the what you read in the media and everywhere else, but I can just tell you the numbers and the activities that are occurring for the most part have everything moving forward. I think there's one very small grant that we have that seems to be in limbo that we received to upgrade our customer communications systems. And that may be we're not certain, maybe an issue of loss of staffing in those departments that are processing those particular grants. We're still trying to get our arms around that. So I don't want to overstate potential problems, because as of today, things are processing. But tomorrow brings, I have no idea. We'll deal with that tomorrow.
And I'll just add that there are in our the board packet some updates under reports, under legislative letter information there. Is there anyone else? Yes.
I had a question. Thank you, Lisa, for your presentation. On the staff report, you said that the local transportation funds were increasing by 13.8%. That was on the staff report, but then in your table, it says that we're at a minus 3.63%.
Right. So that has to do with budget to budget versus actual to budget. So what we got in actually in 2025 projected to June 30th is 29 million, but we're projecting in budget the 28 million there. So just double check.
Lots of that happens with the governors. The last information we get before we put together a budget is the May revise from the governor's office. And there are projections in there that, those are the best numbers we have until the budget's actually adopted. Then that's when we start to see actuals. And given the Altadena fires and the Palisades fires and the lack of collection of sales taxes and property and other income taxes from some of the most populous areas of our state, there's a big question mark on what those numbers are actually going to be. And so there have been estimates made in the May revise. And so again, being conservative, we continue just to use the numbers that we have, the best numbers we have at the time, and not try to be overly optimistic. we plan for the worst, we budget for the worst and hope for the best, I think is our philosophy.
Okay. Thank you.
And with that there, I guess I'll go ahead and open this up to public comment. Public comment is open. And I'm not seeing anyone via Zoom. Public comment is still open. Not seeing anyone stepping up to the podium. I'll call one last time for public comment. And I will go ahead and close public comment and bring it back to the directors for further discussion or action. There is a recommendation in your board packet, as well as the resolution on page 41. The recommendation is to receive the presentation on for year 2026 through fiscal year 2027 operating and capital budget, to conduct the public hearing to hear comments on the FY 26-27 operating and capital budget.
Move approval.
Okay, we have a motion, a second. With that, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any noes? Any abstentions?
Who's the second?
I think there was a tie, but it was me and somebody else over here.
So,
Emil-
So it should
You
be, yeah,
acknowledge,
Emilio's.
Madam Chair,
So-
as a second.
so we have Alejo made the motion
Alejo.
and we have
I think Joe Emilio.
Joe Emilio.
Okay.
Alejo made the motion. and Steve.
Yeah.
You're an ass.
Okay, there you go.
Let's flip a coin here.
Okay,
I'm gonna give it to the senior.
with that.
I was gonna say age before-
Taekwondo, I like these
kind of meetings.
With that, motion carries. And
Congratulations, Lisa.
and then we'll go ahead and move on to action item 6.1, and this is 6.1 to authorize the general manager, CEO, or their designee to execute a lease agreement for property located at 271 Rianda Street with Joseph B. Rossi and Diane H. Rossi as trustees of the Joseph B. Rossi Family Trust in the amount not to exceed 17,000 per month for the initial 5-year term with an annual 2% increase to 5-year options, annual property taxes, and a right of offer to purchase that property. And Lisa will give us a presentation, and this, you can find this on page 53 in your agenda.
Thank you, Chair. I will be brief. This is an item to move the purchase transportation contracted services from Joe Lloyd Way in the former Fort Ord to the city of Salinas property that is available. You basically read the terms of the agreement in the recommendation. This will be slightly lower than what we're currently paying over at the Joe Lloyd Way site, although there are some one-time capital expenditures that we'll need to make to get the place up to a state of good repair and a state where MST can properly operate purchase transportation out of. So that's essentially it. We've been kicked out of the Joe Lloyd Way site by the military. They did give us a 3-month extension to September 30th. So time is of the essence in moving all that stuff and people to the new location. And we have a good team together planning that effort. We just need to execute a lease agreement and let the team do what they need to do.
Okay, thank you, Lisa. I'll open it up for board questions if you have any or comments. It's pretty self-explanatory. And not seeing any, we'll go ahead and open this up to public comment. Public comment is open on this item. Not seeing anyone in the conference chambers. And online, public comment is still open. Okay, no one there. We'll go ahead and close public comment and bring it back to the board.
Move to approve, Madam Chair.
Okay, we have a motion and a second.
Motion. Second from Chaco.
Under discussion.
Okay,
Checo was second.
Yeah.
He has a question.
okay, and we do have a question.
Discussion. So it's not a question. Just wanted to say thank you to staff because I know this came as a surprise. At a time when you were doing the budget and a lot of other moving parts actually operating and supervising the function. So it's never easy when you have a surprise, but thank you to staff because they quickly rallied to find the best solution. And that's one of the things that I so love about our organization's leader is that nothing seems to ever phase him. And he hides it well.
He hides it.
But he pivots quickly. And this is one example of how he pivoted to get us through the notice from the DoD. And so thank you very much for the staff and to the executive director for all the hard work for both of those things at the same time.
Thank you, and I'll not begrudgingly, I want to acknowledge that for City of Monterey staff did provide us, while initially, Army being what the Army is, that they immediately saw no way of granting us any extra time because that's not what the contract said. We were able to actually find a clause in the contract that said contract expires July 1. However, there was a subsection that said that if the Army provides us a notice of eviction before the termination date, that they have to provide us 90 days notice. So they very generously provided us a notice of eviction for June 30th, the day before our lease was to end, which gave us 90 days.
Yeah.
And so I have to acknowledge something that doesn't happen necessarily frequently in the U.S. Army Garrison Command because my daughter works at the U.S. Army Garrison Command in Honolulu. It was creative problem solving, and that was really great. I thought on their part to help us bridge this gap. So I just wanted to publicly acknowledge that.
Yeah, it'll work out well. Thank you, Chair.
You're welcome. With that, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any noes? Motion carries. We'll move on to item 6.2, and this is to consider adoption of MST's Employee Handbook Policy 1.7. And with us, we have Kelly Halcon and page 55 in your agenda is this side.
Good morning, Board. Kelly Halkin, Chief Human Resources Officer. I am before you to ask that the board adopt a new policy. This would be added to the employee handbook called a non-contravention of laws. In the discussion within the memo, it talks about various executive orders that were passed by our President Trump and subsequent memos and letters that were sent out by Secretary Duffy, DOT, Department of Transportation Secretary Duffy, regarding clarification and direction on those executive orders and how they apply to public transit. As part of that, we wanted to add some language that's already in some of our other board adopted documents, such as the ATU collective bargaining agreement, as well as our MSTEA memorandum of understanding. And so the attached policy is just a short paragraph that talks about a non-contravention of law, that basically any policy that MST has within that employee handbook would not conflict or go against any existing state, federal law or regulation or state ordinance. And so we just felt that given the climate that we are seeing today, that we want to add some language to the employee handbook and make it consistent with other governing documents that you have already approved. And with that, I just want to reaffirm that we're asking for the board to adopt this policy to be added to our employee handbook.
Okay, thank you, Kelly. Any questions from the directors? I'm not seeing any. We'll go ahead and open this up to public comment. Public comment is open. We are not seeing any. We'll go ahead and close public comment and I'll bring it back to the directors. So there's, is a recommendation to adopt MST's employee handbook policy 1.7 non-contravention of laws. And with that, I'm looking for a motion and then a second.
So move.
We have a motion and Alejo, and the second was Pacheco. Okay, all Pacheco. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any noes? Motion carries.
Thank you, Board.
Kelly. And we'll move on now to reports and informational items, 7.1, Carl.
You have the general manager report on 7.1. I think it's I mentioned in the operations committee meeting that we're seeing a decline or a flattening in the increase of ridership. We've done some analysis. We are seeing a decline in growth is greater in Salinas Valley than it is on the peninsula. We've seen that start in February and that has continued. We're not certain if that is a result of perceived or actual activities that are occurring with and fears within the communities who live there. And maybe not wanting to travel, not wanting to expose themselves. We don't know. We'll be doing in September some onboard passenger surveys, face-to-face surveys. We'll start in September, where we hope to glean more information on the attitudes and opinions of both our riders and non-riders. We did complete a 3-year process in May of 49 ADA accessible stops in the South County communities at a cost of about $939,000+ of MST funds. A huge investment in those communities and making more accessible mobility available within those communities for persons both who are ambulatory and those who have difficulty moving. So that's a great accomplishment there. I think that we also heard in our operations committee meeting, we had a safety update, and it was announced to the board that over the past from April to April results, we on average were traveling, I think we had 1.75 million miles of accident-free service provided during that 12-month period. And I did some quick stats, and that's 50 times around the world, or three round trips to the moon and back of accident free. So it's quite an accomplishment by our team of drivers and staff who help put these programs together. So I think that's important for you all to know. Thanks.
So if we do any outreach anywhere, that's a great stat to be able
Absolutely.
to say the safest way to travel in Monterey County is by bus. And so with that kind of record, that's cheaper than auto insurance, cheaper than a car payment, and certainly much less risk than traveling yourself. So
Cheaper than a
I'd
gas.
say let's put together some marketing
Cheaper than a
advertising
beer.
for that.
True.
Yeah, and say it's over the moon, travel by the MST.
Did he ride the bus with
I
us?
think that's a good
That was a
comment.
great
Yeah.
marketing campaign.
Our marketing staff are here taking notes.
I still remember that ad, like it was yesterday. Ride the bus with us. Yep.
Thank you, Chair. Again, not a question, but a remark. When we just acknowledge that we cannot violate any federal laws. But Carl, when you said, the people in the declining growth in the Central Valley and Salinas Valley might be because people are not wanting to travel. I think we should change. I think people not having the courage to travel.
I don't know.
Yeah, we don't know, but
He mentioned that in
yeah,
our meeting.
but not wanting. I think people do want to travel, and we need to acknowledge or realize that there are people that probably are too scared to.
Something I neglected to mention is
Yeah.
right underneath my report, subsection A, in honor of our safety month, and we have these great safety statistics. We do have employee safety barbecues that we'll be doing tri-tip sandwiches for our staff on June 11th at our Monterey division, June 18th at our Salinas division, and June 25th at our King City division. Your board is welcome to attend. We'll be sending invitations out as well, but that's just a little, thank you to our drivers, mechanics and support staff for having this, great safety record. I didn't want to leave that out. Thank you.
Can I mention something else?
Sure.
On the trolley,
Mhm.
the trolley just started again, of course, at the end of, May for Memorial Day and then it goes through till September. So just tracking compared to last year, this year, just visually, when I see the trolley,
Mhm.
it seems like it's hugely popular, even more than it was last year and grows year after year. So I don't know about other cities, but I just want to advertise that is a cool way to ride from downtown Monterey to the wharf to Cannery Row. But if there's other opportunities, people love to ride the trolley. And so you've got some routes in your cities and you want people to ride, you know, I would encourage you to partner.
We only have 5 of those, so.
I know, I know, but for the future, as we look at South Monterey County, as it's growing. And as there's transportation opportunities, a trolley is a great transportation. You see hugely popular locations that use trolleys. So I just think as a thought process for what we do in the future, we should be looking at that type of transportation that moves people throughout cities. And I just open it up to say, if you have not ridden from the head of the wharf to Cannery Row, I would encourage the board to find the time to get on the trolley and ride that experience, because it's just different than riding a closed bus. An open bus in South Monterey County with the weather as it is would be a fool thing. That's all I had.
Question, do we have times on the safety day? Do we have a time?
11 till 11 a.m. till 2 p.m. Thank you,
Got
Kelly.
it.
I did not know that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'll comment, if anyone is interested, I don't know who's barbecue. But if any of the board would like to
Help with the barbecue.
help with the
We
barbecue.
have staff that are doing it, but.
Well, I know, but it is to honor staff, so it probably won't hurt to have some, if any of the
Kelly's coming on
directors.
to see her.
This year, the HR team is doing the whole barbecue. It's been done differently each year, but this year we really want, it's our team building.
Wednesdays.
What we've been highly encouraged for you guys to come is to mingle with the staff, particularly the drivers and the mechanics. And get to know them, because this is a great opportunity for them to get to know you guys as board members and learn a little bit of what they do.
Okay, thank you. Okay, any other
Just
Yes.
a question now that Director Smith asked about that trolley. I've been thinking, would it be possible, our city of Marina, we're celebrating 50th anniversary this year on October 11th. And would it be possible to hire the trolley? And we probably need to talk about it.
Yeah,
offline.
let's
And
take
yes,
that offline.
Yeah, because I had that same thought. Be cool if it could be used outside of the summer months.
MST is open for revenue. You bet.
Yeah, that's what I said, yeah. And we have plenty of money. And we have so much money.
We're gonna go ahead and move on next to federal legislative advocacy report, and would
You have a report in your,
okay.
we have the state and federal legislative
Okay.
reports. We'd be happy to answer any questions.
All right, there was, I believe I saw in there something about the 1/8 cent tax.
Yeah, there's, Don Addis, has been sponsoring legislation for us, AB 761. That, would allow MST, to seek an additional sales tax measure and place that, to the voters for a vote, above and beyond what we currently have for Measure Q, and not have that, count against the, state mandated cap. It would be exclusive of the cap, so it would not, if this board were to ask for a sales tax measure to be added up to an additional 0.1%, it would not inhibit any of your cities to pursue your own sales tax measures and worry about hitting the countywide cap. So it's legislation that's been done successfully elsewhere, most notably and closely in Santa Cruz County. a couple terms ago. So we're just moving forward with something similar, and that has passed the assembly and is moving through the Senate for a vote later.
Okay. All right, with that, we'll move on to staff trip reports and so that is all in your agenda. I did have a handout from, I believe I gave an oral report on the for trip report for myself for the May 8th California Transit Association spring conference. It was a 1 day, and Jeanette had these to hand out to everyone. So with that there is a part of that. There was a couple of correspondence in our agenda that I had received a letter from a senior from Soledad who was asking for additional rides. Diego Camacho, who is a avid bus rider. And then there was also 7.5B, a letter of thanks from Palenque Arts Board for the donation that MST made for their 9th annual Palenque Arts Festival. So just those items in there. I probably jumped ahead with with my board report comments from at MST suspense. So I did give that. Board member, we'll move on to board member comments and announcements at this time. Yes, sir.
I have some
Mr.
sad news.
Barbera.
I won't be here next month. So, Councilor, treat my alternate Councilor Gloria La Rosa with the same respect you give me. So I will
Treat her better than that.
That's easy, Cody. That's easy, Cody.
I actually have a question.
Maybe she'll want to stay.
We have Amnesty on October 13th, and that's also Indigenous Day. And do we need to have a discussion about that prior? Or I know it's a little ways down the road, but
Yeah, only if you want to run the meeting, because I won't be here.
I don't mind running. the meeting.
If it's okay with the board.
Yeah,
Just because I do have every day that their event that I put on in the city of San City, and I would love for everybody to stop by for some free food, indigenous food. If you'd like to visit.
I remember we had a discussion last year, so
Yeah.
I didn't know if we needed to have that again.
Anything for a free meal, huh?
The perks. Yeah, we'll take a look at
Okay.
whether that moving that meeting creates any unusual conflicts, or we'll ask the board whether you just rather continue on schedule with that meeting. We understand that you have commitments.
I think I did run it last year.
Yeah, you did.
I think, yeah.
Well, the only request we would have is that we're done at noon so we can go eat.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
And the food will be waiting for you.
That is up to your board.
Yeah, there you go.
So that we can get there.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. No, we wait till 1 o'clock. for you. So. And with that, I'll go to board member referrals for future agendas. No, I see maybe two hands. Yes, Mr. Cabrera.
I don't know if it is, but maybe a report on how things are going in Greenfield with the circulation bus.
I did ask for, I received something like that. Maybe we can share it with the whole board, the information that was sent to me, because I asked about ridership from January to now, with the rides program to see how many more residents have qualified for rides as we transition from on-call. So I received that information, but maybe it's something we can share with the board.
We can bring that to you next month, and we've had all of I think 8 days of circulator service now in Greenfield, so it's a little too soon to provide you with any updates.
Maybe with Solid, because the circulation bus passed by my house, and I have seen a lot more people waiting in the bus. So I think that the use of buses
Right.
has increased in our town.
Yeah, I wanted the
like-
data for that too, the
Okay,
circulators.
we will provide the update on circulating for the for the South County cities. And you are correct in what you're seeing is what's actually occurring in Soledad. Maybe a different experience in Gonzales for different reasons, but we'll talk about that.
I'm curious, that's what.
And if
Good
we
to
could,
say.
yeah, if we can include for Greenfield, since it's so new, the information about the increase in the residents that are qualifying for rights.
I was copied on that last week, but didn't really
Yes,
have time to
yes,
process it.
and thank you to the staff that were so responsive and provided a great rundown of everything.
Thank you. Mr.
Yes, I just want to take a moment. I would say on behalf of all the board, I want to just express our deepest condolences, Carl, on the passing of your lovely and amazing mother. I also wanted to just let everyone know that tomorrow, we all know these are difficult times for immigrant communities. There's a lot of unrest, as we know, we see in the news in Los Angeles. But weeks ago, we had planned a ceremony to honor or commemorate a legal case that came out of Soledad, of all places, that ended the use of el cortito, the short-handled hoe that used to damage the backs of thousands of farm workers all over California. But it was one of those examples that where local residents confronted injustice, used the courts. It was a case that was fought to the California Supreme Court, but in 1975, it outlawed that tool from continued use. And then other states like Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, Colorado all followed suit. Tomorrow, we also have our guest speaker. It will be the filmmaker and playwright Luis Valdez. And then we're also honoring one of the most popular Mexican musical groups, Los Tigres del Norte, for their advocacy throughout their lifetime and their careers for immigrants. But they have a connection with Monterey County. When they were young teenagers and first came to the United States in 1968, the first place they came to play was in Soledad, but not in the community. They played at a prison concert at Soledad Prison. So this is a homecoming for them as well. So we expect our largest crowd at a Board of Supervisors meeting ever tomorrow. I don't have any more RSVP seating. They're all gone. There's only a few more public seating, and I just don't know how long.
Can I sit next to you right there?
What's the name of the band
Yeah.
again?
Los Tigres del Norte, Tigers of the North.
Okay.
Yes,
I never got the invitation.
yeah.
What time is that, Luis?
It will be at 11:30, but the doors open for the chambers at 10:15, and there will be a line forming in advance for the available public seating.
4 in the morning.
Yeah.
But we also might have labor leader Dolores Huerta also coming.
It's gonna be packed.
Okay,
So it'll be a house full of VIPs.
thank you.
A lot of little vending carts.
I'm so.
And if you can't get a seat, please watch from Zoom or our county's YouTube page or Facebook page.
Okay, and I believe I am on a county meeting, committee meeting or mosquito abatement, so I know me and Oglesby will be over there, but maybe we could tune in.
Bring no mosquitoes.
No mosquitoes. Okay, item I, attachments, are in they can be viewed online. Next item, we'll go to is item 10, it's closed session item. And, this is, we will be conferencing with Monterey Salinas Transit and ATU labor contract, for the contract. Michael Laredo and Kelly Halcon will be in the meeting. And then there is a second item to conference with real property negotiators regarding APN 003-051-086, 003-051-087, and 003-051-072 in Salinas. MST negotiators, Carl Stewart. And this is under negotiation of price and terms. With that, I'm going to open this up to public comment before we close the public meeting. So public comment is open on either of these two items. And I see no one in the room and see no one online. So I will go ahead and close public comment. And I will excuse the public. We will, when we rejoin after closed session, we will report out any actions taken during closed session. And we'll meet in the conference.
He's still managed to get to that area.
And that was never in. It just take. Oh, I'm gonna think. Yeah. DC. Really sweet. That was. No, I wanted that to be able to be.
No, but I was talking, like, Rick did a video.
That was great, Carl. That was great.
So I just.
Who's that first gentleman? I forgot. The one with.
Matt Robinson, he's our lobbyist in Sacramento.
Okay, well, we are re-adjourning back into open session. And I will ask our counselor to report out any actions taken during the closed session.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The board did meet in closed session on two items. The first, conference with the labor negotiators regarding the ETU contract. This was met under Government Code Section 54957.6. General direction was provided, but there's no reportable action at this time. Your second item, 10-2, this was conference with real property negotiators for the APNs listed. The MST negotiator was Carl Sidorek. And there was a general discussion that was had and a direction given to submit a letter of interest to the property owner.
Okay,
That concludes my report.
thank you, sir. And with that, we will go ahead and Lisa?
Matt Robinson is on the line, and he wasn't doing the presentation for Carl, and I don't know, like, he was slated to have some more to
Okay, all right. Well, before we adjourn, we will recognize Matt Robinson. Well, if you could unmute yourself.
Is he still there? Okay, I'll follow up with Matt later. Thank you, you've done enough. You've been more than indulgent. Thank you so much.
Okay, well, with that, Carl, once again, thank you for your 25 years with us, and I'm looking forward to 25 more. We're gonna go ahead and adjourn this meeting. The next meeting will be July 14th at 10 a.m. And please join us in some refreshments with Carl. There's a cake over there.
Not going anywhere.